music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that has clearly ballooned to over £140 for sure. There's a lot of content here, folks. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I'm the one with sort of a dark side. I'm Niall McGowan.
Yes, and we are joined by our very special guests. We have Cassandra and Norman from the Lord of the Rings Minute.
Hello.
Hello.
My master Sauron the Great bids thee welcome.
Holy shit.
The first time I was on Lord of the Rings Minute, it was just me and Norman, and we completely derailed the conversation to talk about the Mouth of Sauron for about...
My favourite character in the whole thing.
Just for about 25 minutes, it's like, we're just going to talk about this guy instead now, instead of what's happening on
screen. I think Peter Jackson and Tim Burton have similar instincts when it comes to things like that. Catwoman, yeah. She's clearly a cat person. Like, literally. The Mouth of Sauron, he's a mouth.
A big mouth who looks like Marilyn Manson.
A big mouth. The Eye of Sauron is literally an eye. The Penguin, well, that just explains itself.
Oh my god.
But anyway, we are here to talk about minute 69.
Nice.
Nice. Of Batman Returns. The minute starts with some light flirting, and it ends with a hot time with Selina's dark side. But yes, we're back here with Bruce. He's chatting up Selina. He's totally flirting, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and he's wearing a cravat again, his flirting cravat.
Is that the same one from before?
Is this the same day? Is this all the same day?
I assume it's the next day.
Yeah, it looked like it was night, but unless Alfred just had the curtains drawn or something.
Oh, I just realised I'm wrong, though. It's not a cravat, it's a scarf.
Oh. Well, I guess it must have been that Bruce was watching... That thing he was watching wasn't live, because it seemed to be night in Wayne Manor, where it was blatantly the daytime, where the Penguin was, because it was the same lighting as during the day when we were in that office. In daytime, it didn't look like it was like light bulbs or anything. So, but no, I was thinking, like, maybe it is supposed to be the same day.
Bruce just hates the sun. He just has all the curtains drawn all the time.
Yeah, he's a bat.
Yeah, he's Batman. Bats don't like light, right? Tim Burton, like Batman.
He's wearing sunglasses when he's out too. So it's like it's sunglasses in the middle of winter. That's how much he hates the light.
Batman should be a vampire. That's probably what Tim Burton wanted to do.
Whoa.
Oh my god, that would have been great.
And we talked about it was loads and loads last movie. Like, when you watch it in a minute at a time, the amount of times that Batman does a Dracula cape flourish in that first movie, where he's clearly, like, Tim Burton's like, I liked when Christopher Lee did it, so I'm sticking it in this as well. This guy's got a cape too, so...
What is it? There's, I can't remember what the deal with Wonder Woman in that story is, but there's like a run of the comics that are, I think it's called Gods Among Us in DC right now. There's a comic book series. They did the one movie. And in that, Batman is a vampire.
What? That's awesome.
Like, they're all, like, super edgelord versions of themselves. But they're also, they're still kind of heroes, but they're, like, really anti-heroes.
Yeah.
Like, Batman kills Harley Quinn at the beginning of that story.
Yikes. Never mind.
Whoa. Holy crap. That sounds great.
I will say, actually, you alluded to it in the last minute there, John, about, like, yes, Selina having a kind of split personality. I do think this is it's an interesting angle that it's only really introduced now. Because we kind of thought, like, well, yeah, once she was Catwoman, and that was it. But now we are seeing her talking to herself and reflection and stuff, and this is actually harkening back to stuff that's in the comics and whatnot. The thing is, nowadays, your modern-day Catwoman is very distinctly sane. Like, they've got her down as, like, she's a cat burglar, but she's basically a good guy nowadays. And she's, like, yeah, she's 100% sane. So that's why she's never locked up in Arkham or anything, because she's perfectly sane.
Yeah.
But in one of the books that really influenced this version of the character, brought up several times, Catwoman, Her Sister's Keeper, does feature scenes of her talking about Catwoman. Selina Kyle talking about Catwoman as if it's another person, and indicating and like literally talking to the costume and stuff, and really coming across as like, there's a clear separate divide between this dark half of her and this light half of her, which is weirdly appropriate enough that we have people from Lord of the Rings minute on.
Yeah.
It's a bit like
Gollum.
Smeagol and Gollum. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a sexy version of Smeagol and Gollum. Of course, that character's sexy enough in his own right, but
there are some people that certainly think so.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Oh God, oh no.
Just-
On Tumblr fanfic.
Yeah,
Stumbling
probably.
into uncharted corners of the internet, just like, oh God, why?
But no, there's a thing. Like, it got to the point with Selina in the old comic books. That, like, I think there's a comic book line, Empress of the Underworld, which is in apparently like one of the Batman comics from like 1951, where like a crook actually convinces Selina Kyle that she's subconsciously been going out as Catwoman and committing loads of crimes that this guy's actually been doing. And Selina, because she knows she's so insane, she just kind of believes it. She's like, yep, that could totally happen. That's the nature of my relationship with Catwoman. That it's almost kind of like friggin' Tyler Durden and the narrator from Fight Club. It's like, oh, it's the same person. She could literally be Catwoman without knowing it. Which is, it's a nice little illusion here that you were getting a bit more complexity with a character that, very well done in the movie so far, but could have been a bit more one-dimensional if she was just like, oh, now she's just a full-blown villain. But now we're seeing a bit of conflict and whatnot. And it's,
I think there's even a tone shift in this conversation from her. I think her characterization changes just across this conversation with Bruce.
Yeah, definitely. She sort of flicks back into Catwoman mode.
We get them doing a little bit of a walk and talk. Like not quite the West Wing level, but the walk and talk all the same.
Aaron Sorkin written Batman movie. Oh my God.
Hey, I'd give it a go. At this point, I would be willing to let anybody have a go at Batman.
That's been like the villain explaining their plans to Batman must have got him captured, but they were just making him walk around a load of corridors while they're doing it, just slightly behind him.
But can't you see that happen with like Adam West's Batman, where he's walking with the villain talking?
Oh yeah, true.
I can totally see that.
They're just on a treadmill.
Especially if it's the Riddler. I can see that happening with like Adam West Batman and the Riddler walking and talking. Having like a riddle off.
What has he got in his pockets?
Yeah. But like that's the kind of thing I could see with like that style of Batman.
Should be pocketses anyway, shouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
What's it got in its pocketses?
Since as I said, I just watched I've only watched the first one again so far in our rewatch of The Hobbit. Every time for the past week I've said pocket. I keep accidentally saying pocketses. Not that I say pocket every day, but you know what I mean.
Well, with your pocket podcast, John, that's going to be a disaster.
I know, it's ruined the show.
Pockets is podcasts.
Oh no.
No.
It could have been like Smeagol hosting a podcast about him guessing what's in the pocket. This week, we've got in a special guest.
It's like a true crime podcast. He's trying to figure out what's in the pockets.
There you go. That's what you need to do. You do all the Lord of the Rings, then do all the Hobbit, and then do a hiatus episode after that. True crime from Gollum's perspective. It's fantastic. It's great.
And then he calls the world's greatest detective. Batman.
There you go.
Yes, crossover.
I want a real detective story with Batman because he's called the world's greatest detective.
He hardly does a lot of investigation and detecting, to be honest.
Oh,
He just
we did
punches
get a little
people.
bit when he was in this movie. He does have the whole when he's at that microfiche machine. The guy's unstoppable.
That's all it takes for this Batman. Just get on the microfiche and you'll solve anything.
But talking about looking at old newspapers, we've got Bruce and Selina wandering past the tabloids here at the side. And notice that we actually get seeing some other newspapers that aren't the Gotham Globe. That's not our only source of news anymore. Well, the last movie was that and Action News. But we get... I'm enjoying actually like the standards of headlines are so different between each one. Because then you get the Daily Gotham. That's got like Meowch. That's pretty good. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And then the Daily News is just Batman blows it. It's like, oh, come on. What the hell?
Yeah, that's harsh, I think. I mean, so this city is now entirely relying on Batman. One man, a human man, to protect them from everything at all times. And if he doesn't do it once, he's blown it.
He's not a human man. He's a Batman.
He's a Batman.
He's a So he should be better, god damn it.
Yeah.
He's the goddamned Batman.
It's absurd, though. They want him to protect everyone. Always.
But then, of course, we get good old Gotham Globe with the best headline of "It's a catastrophe." Oh. Like, that's good. That's pretty good.
That's like we'd have in our newspapers over here, I think. They're awful. They're terrible. Trash.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, the press are really on board with this news that Catwoman is a thing. Whereas, if, we've gone through the movie, the only people who've seen Catwoman were that woman who has been mugged, and she saved her, and then those 2 security guards in the Shrek department store. So 3 people out of this whole city have come and said, like, there's some woman. She did call herself Catwoman to the mugging victim, to be fair. So relying on the word of these 3 people, like, yes, apparently Catwoman is now front page news. It's like, you got anything to verify those sources or anything? Like, no, we're rolling with it. We've got the cat puns lined up. We can't waste them. They're just too juicy.
Plus, I mean, if Batman exists, why not Catwoman?
That's true. He's paved the way.
Yeah.
For animal-themed
Villains.
vagabonds in Gotham.
Because they've already been harping on about the Penguin like for ages as well. So like
that's just insulting.
Yeah, it's just rude.
You wonder if there was ever like did they have to have like a conference where they all agreed like we're calling this guy, but before he announced his presence, everyone was talking like, oh, the Penguin Man of the sewers and stuff like this. But did they have to have a kind of thing of like, right, we're officially calling this guy the Penguin. We can all agree that he looks like a penguin, okay? So everyone run the same, because we don't have then like the Daily News is calling him like the sewer lurker or something like that. So it's like, no, he's the Penguin. Everyone in all the other newspapers are calling him the Penguin. Why are you calling him the sewer lurker?
The sewer warbler.
Oh, speaking of things that are rude, though, actually, I forgot to bring this up. Bruce asks her something I thought was quite rude. He says, "You all right? You look like you maybe have the holiday blues or something." Right? He doesn't know what's going on in her life. You don't ask someone you barely know that question. I'm an introvert. I've got anxiety and depression and all this crap. Boring. But, so to me, that's the worst thing you could ever ask a human being. It's like, if someone looks sad, don't ask them if they're sad unless you know them. Just let them come to you.
Well, maybe some people, though, who are anxious wouldn't open up to someone unless they're prompted. So it could be that she needs someone to be like, "Oh, are you okay?" Because she won't give up the information herself.
I don't know. She looks really anxious right now. She's like talking to herself in the window. So like,
I mean, there is definitely cause for concern.
She does look like she's going to cry at any minute as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing now. I bump into John on the street one time. They literally have like his hand blown off or something. He's just bleeding. I'm like, oh, don't ask him how he is. Don't ask. So John,
See, I wouldn't want you to. That's the thing. I wouldn't want you to ask me that. It's rude.
I don't know. I didn't think there was any just saying to someone like, "Oh, you look like the holiday blues." But like, if you don't, then you just go, "No," and if you do, you just be like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." There you go.
What if she does have the holiday blues? What if she has a bad association with Christmas? What if her dad was being Santa and got stuck in the chimney and died?
Oh my god.
So you just say, "I don't want to talk about it." And there you go.
But then that makes her rude because like, oh, she's just being a crazy woman. She doesn't want to talk about her feelings with this nice man. Like, she doesn't owe Bruce anything.
Which all women want to do.
Right? So angry now.
Yeah, it's just weird as well because they don't really know each other. How many times have they met? Once? Maybe twice? Have they met twice? No, once.
Well, they met once as Bruce and Selina. They've met
that
3 times if you count the 2 other Oh no, they met once as Batman and Selina, then once as Bruce and Selina, and then once as Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah, so they've only actually met once,
Yeah.
knowingly. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's weird. You don't ask her. She's a stranger. He just thinks she's hot.
Well, so he's trying to get in. He's trying to woo her. He's doing the Wayne woo. That's what that's how it works.
The good old Wayne Woo.
Works every time.
He's been watching too many episodes of Love Connection with Alfred, clearly.
Yes. That's how he mastered the Wayne Woo.
But
who are the people that win this game? Take points.
Yeah. Yeah, and he made little notes, and he's honed it. That's why he was with Vicky in the last movie. It was just to really work on his game.
That's the thing, though. We have, of course, then they begin to talk about the newspapers and whatnot. As they get distracted because the newspapers is, ironically enough, the newspapers are talking about them. The thing is, though, apparently you can actually get a replica of the "It's a Catastrophe" Gotham Globe. Like you can buy this on eBay. Someone's actually made that up, and you get a little insight into the other headlines that are on the page, which, as we've discovered through doing this for 2 movies now, are insanely boring in comparison to the main story. So of course you have "It's a Catastrophe," but then 2 city officials asked to resign their posts. Apparently, I guess, over the Red Triangle gang stuff, all the carnage and whatnot. And then we have "Justice teeters on the oldest fine points." Don't have any idea what that would be. Sounds very boring.
No.
And then this is front page news. Within this whole, there's a Catwoman going around, the clown gang going around blowing up stuff. Within that same front page, newly zoned area results in 150 more building permits. Like, how is that top news?
It's a very... I know, because it's not exactly
That's
a boring
job creation,
city.
Niall.
Yeah. True. I like the way as well Selina here, she scoffs at the idea that Catwoman is thought to weigh 140 pounds. So I converted that into our old-fashioned medieval measurements that we use, and that's about 10 stone.
Oh.
So there's no way she weighs 10 stone. Not that that's big or anything, but like I'm not much more than that.
I'm right about twice that.
I did note in the original Dan Waters draft, he had the line as 160 pounds. So at some point, they obviously went like, no, we need to knock this down a bit or something? Or
Yeah, the 140's already pushing it.
Yeah.
Like, 160? No. Look at her.
But again, it's another
No wonder she's annoyed.
It's another little sort of like, dig at, it was much more overt in the Waters draft, but they've kind of made it more subtle in this one. Whereas, showing you the constant undermining of women under the patriarchy and whatnot, like the old stuffy boardroom full of men who just laughed at her and stuff like that. And you get this, like the fact that, like, Batman, does anyone ever comment on Batman's weight? No, they would probably, but as soon as Catwoman appears, they mention the fact that she's 140 pounds, has to be brought up within the newspaper. And apparently this is important news of like what size she is and stuff.
And that's where she flips back to Catwoman in the conversation.
Oh yeah, well spotted actually. Yeah. That's maybe triggered it in her. That's brought her back.
Yeah, it's some anger, and she just flips back to Catwoman.
Because you know that the newspapers and the magazines and stuff, they would guess her weight. That's what they do with women. Oh yeah, and it's awful.
Oh no, so yeah, it's the thing is, well, I'm imagining they're probably getting descriptions from those 2 security guard guys as well, and they were the guys like, oh, I don't know whether to shoot her or fall in love. So I guess they would have been put up like, oh, she was in amazing shape and stuff. And, yeah, so... But yeah, that is a thing. In case we almost noticed, like, we commented on Selina voice and the Catwoman voice as well. And you did notice there is a little subtle thing. Was like when she's initially talking to Bruce, her voice is a little bit higher. But then when she goes into, like, I've heard it said, like, she goes into the lower register of the Catwoman voice again. And it's like, it's very deftly done. It's actually, turns out this Michelle Pfeiffer woman's a pretty good actress.
They say Catwoman weighs 140 pounds. The hacks.
Yeah, they are. God damn it. And it is bringing up 140 pounds and the weight and stuff. A nod to the previous film, Niall?
Oh, maybe like Bruce is like, oh, thank God they told me if I ever need to get a grappling hook out, that I'll know exactly what I'm dealing with.
Because if you guys remember, everybody listening, in the previous movie, there's a scene where Batman has to guess Vicky's weight in order to support them both on the grappling hook. And she lies about her weight. She's heavier than she says. And it very much angers him because he's miscalculated and got into trouble.
Right, because that's life or death. That's important.
Yeah.
What's the thing? She claimed, was it 108? Wasn't it? That was what she gave. So like that's actually, considering that like this, Catwoman, they're trying like, it was 140 pounds. That's pretty slim, isn't it? Or is it just me who would perceive that as being? Because to say that you're 108,
108
is holy crap.
Is like skeletal.
Yeah, 108. I mean, it's all about frame. Everybody carries weight differently.
That's true.
I know people that they wear the same size pants, they have the same size chest, and they're like 50 pounds different in weight. So it's all about how you carry it. You can't guess someone's weight accurately all the time by looking at them.
No. And in that movie, I mean, she's slim and I'd say skinny, but she's not like a runway model skeleton. She still looks fine. She looks good.
The thing is, though, like, because considering that Bruce was initially concerned about Selina, the fact that he's seen a headline about Batman, like, she's kind of like opening up a little bit of like, can you believe this? Like what they're saying about Catwoman, and he's immediately preoccupied. Like, I mean, it's not even accurate. Batman blows it. Like, he's instantly becomes more involved than himself again. What a narcissist.
Yeah.
The thing is, because like, Selina has a genuine like, I mean, what the hell are these? How do these hacks sleep at night? But then his defense for him is like, well, he probably saved millions in property damage alone. Like, what's the place still got trash though, Batman? And as we saw, a lot of those Red Triangle Gang guys didn't get arrested when you were out doing that. So I guess you kind of did blow it, really. Like maybe you should have, I don't know, handcuffed them to railings or something, or instead of just punching
them up by their feet on lampposts like you tend to do.
See, you said that, but I've been rewatching Blackadder all week, and in the first series, there's quite a lot of talk of stringing people up by their codlings. So that's all I can think of.
Oh man, I love Blackadder. I haven't seen any of that in a while.
Oh, rewatch it. I don't know if it's on your Netflix, but for some reason only 3 and 4 are on ours, not 1 and 2. Weird. But I've got them all on DVD.
It's very, very strange when Netflix decides like, no, you don't need the whole thing. We'll just give you like a little bit of it. Like,
no, you know what it'll be, because you have to beep this. They're absolute. The BBC hate anyone having their content, so they'll have gone, well, you can have some of it. You're not getting the rest.
Well, that's the thing too, is that the fact, like, because you want to watch these things through Netflix legally, but then they're not fast sometimes. So I've literally in the past couple of months have torn through all of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And it's like first time watch. I didn't think I was going to like it because it had Andy Samberg, and I don't like him, and I still don't really like him. But everything else in the show is so good that it's like, no, this is actually, I'm really enjoying this. And I've sort of hurtled then towards the end of season 4 and found on Netflix, that's it, they've ran out. And then it's like, well, there's a whole other season. So now it's like, I'm not going to wait for Netflix to eventually cough up this next season. It's like, well, I'm going to have to go get it somewhere else, aren't I? So
yeah.
It's I think it's all on Hulu.
Oh, God damn it.
So what do I have to do, John? I have to set up a dummy account in Argentina and then reroute via satellite to a place in Honolulu and then set up an account under what name? Should I give the...
Oh, yeah, I used fake names as well.
Mr. P. Irit. There you go.
Yeah, I would use funny names like from movies, like I'd be Dominic Toretto. From the Fast and the Furious.
That is a thing. In the 60s Batman show, they literally did have things like, oh, this is registered to a man called Mr. Joe Kerr.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That just makes me think of Alan Partridge, the British comedy, because he's getting prank phone calls and messages left for him. And one of them is from a Mr. P. Nesshead.
That always reminds me, like, one time, years and years ago, watching Batman Forever with my friend Anthony, and just the howls of laughter he had just when Bruce Wayne's putting together at the end. It's just like, I go, what's the other name for a riddle? An enigma, Mr. Enigma. Edward Nygma.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
it's so goddamn obvious. Of course it's Edward Nygma.
We all knew.
And 2, how the hell is he called Edward Nygma? That's the stupidest name of all time.
Oh, don't get me started. I hate that name.
But anyway, that's next season. Next season.
That's next season, yep. In this minute, Selina asks Bruce if he's going to the tree lighting. Or the tree relighting, I should say. But he says no, he wouldn't be caught dead there. Oh, but is he hinting that Batman probably will be going?
Oh, see, I didn't catch that as a thing. What I got was more of a, like, he was trying to seem really cool to a girl he liked, because she had a very like,
yeah.
you're not going to that, are you? And it's like, no, I wouldn't be caught there.
I'm going to a cool gig.
It's going to be a hot night in a cold town.
Oh, yeah.
But just like later on in the conversation, he's just like, so you like the Smiths, huh? And she's like, no, I hate them. Oh, me too. I really hate the Smiths too. Like, oh, what a bunch of dorks.
You like the Cure, though, right?
I can tell from your hair that you clearly must be a Cure fan.
It's Friday. I'm in love.
Aw.
I think we've established that Batman is a Cure fan, not a Smiths fan. Didn't we bring that up?
I can't remember.
I
I
think
remember we
that
talked
tracks.
a lot about the Cure.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. He's the embodiment of the Cure.
well, remember we had the whole thing where he was an Iron Maiden fan because he had an Iron Maiden in his house. But
Who isn't? Well, me for a start, but you know.
But that's in talking about throwbacks to the previous movie, we get a very blatant one right here with Selina's. It's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight.
She gets it slightly wrong. She says, I think she says the cool town.
I don't think I always heard cold myself, but
Let me double check the script. Because I don't know if it's her delivery. The quote says cold.
Yeah.
Sounds like she says cool. But either way, it doesn't matter.
I've always heard it as cold. But yeah, again, Cassandra, I don't know, have you seen the previous movie? Or is this like, are you not a Batman fan at all? Or, oh.
No, I
Oh.
I like Batman, and I've just never, like, I've seen the Adam West stuff. I've just never seen this era of Batman movies for some. I mean, I was like 2 when
these are
this
the
came out,
best.
so.
But yeah, in the first movie, there's a scene where when the Joker's just become the Joker, and he's like infiltrated a board meeting of gangsters, but very much like in The Dark Knight, pretty much. And yeah, it does like, if we can't make a deal, then we'll just shake hands and that'll be it. And then he's got the Joker buzzer on, and he electrocutes a guy into so severely that the guy turns into a burnt husk of a corpse, basically.
Oh my god.
But as he's doing it, he actually starts singing like, "Oh, it'll be a hot time in the old town tonight." And there's been an illusion comparing Catwoman to the Joker before, because they're both introduced when after post-transformation, that we see them in silhouette at a doorway. We're like, oh, it's like almost like a visual nod to the Joker in the first movie. And the fact now she's saying this is like, this must be a deliberate nod to like, yeah, she's the new villain like the Joker was and stuff. But even though she's nowhere near the same level of threat to the entire city that the Joker was. But at the same time, we did have, noted that Tim Burton was very much like he didn't really want to make this a direct sequel to the first one. That's why there's very little mention of the Joker and stuff. And there's only one allusion to Vicky Vale and things like that. But so it could also be that Dan Waters threw that line in, not knowing that it was gonna be like, oh, you mentioned that song in the last movie too. But yeah, he's like, oh, was that in that one? Oh, I didn't even watch it.
Should we go into the song again? I mean, we did it last year, but
That's the thing. Like, I wasn't too sure if we did, and I did the rare thing of I went and downloaded that episode and flipped through and listened, and it's weird going back because like it's been over a year and stuff, and we have really changed. Like in terms, like just listening, it was like, oh, editing is much more erratic in that episode, and it's just like, I don't know, it just sound like different people in it. Like it doesn't sound.
what? No.
It's kind of like we're like, because that's like 40 minutes in, so I guess we're still kind of finding our feet and stuff. But yeah, it just like it was the sound, the stuff in, because that was when Jack Harvey was on, and we had various problems with audio and stuff, and things that we could fix now very easily, but we didn't know how to then. So it's like, oh, if this was nowadays, this would be pristine quality and stuff. But we do talk about that the info in the song is in that. I don't know if you want it, you can come out with it again now, or you can advise people to go back and listen to I think it was minutes 42 or thereabouts, or
I will advise you to go and listen to that.
yeah, or maybe it was 41
because it was
around then.
Some interesting facts about that song because it's a very old song.
This is John not remembering any of the facts. Like, yes, it was very interesting. It was old.
It was,
and it was written by a person.
It was, and I remember, but I'm trying to say it's interesting without saying why, so they go and listen to it and bump our download. Yeah,
I got you.
Anyhow. But that's the thing, because then this prompts like the final line from Bruce, where he's like, "Oh, you've got kind of a dark side, don't you?"
I think that is more rude than like asking if she's okay and if she's sad, honestly, because he's just like, whoa.
Well, I think the way that line comes across to me is he's just feeding off the tone shift in her, because she clearly changed her tone across this conversation in a radical way.
And when you kind of get their full relationship, I think he's saying it might not come across that way to her, but from his point of view, he kind of likes it. Like, I think it's exciting to him. He sees himself in that, because he's a very unusual character, shall we say.
That's the thing. I don't quite understand, though, why her saying that prompts him to say that, though, unless it is just the shift in tone.
It's the way she says it.
But then why is that dark? Like, why is it, it's a hot time, it's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight? Is it because it's like there was previously a riot when they had the Christmas tree lighting, so to kind of make fun of it is a dark thing in itself? Like, her kind of like, oh, well, it's like her saying it's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight is an alluding to maybe that'll happen again or something. And she's just like, we're going to see some tonight if they try this again. And that's the inherent darkness of it, or is it just the fact she says it in this kind of glowering way? Yeah. But yeah, I definitely do think that, Bruce, he's all into the dark. So, as we established, he's a Cure fan. Of course he is. But yeah, that's kind of all I got in terms of notes for this minute. Do you guys have anything else you want to, any other observations you want to?
No, I'm all tapped out for notes.
This is like the most normal thing. Like, I didn't expect this after the beginning of the week, so it's kind of like encapsulates the whole movie.
You gotta have your denouement between the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. It must seem like a really weird kind of de-escalation.
Yes.
Well, again, it's also one of those things of like, when you're watching this as a kid, once again, like, scenes like this, I would have been like, oh, come on, like, because you just want to see the villains and you want to see the craziness and stuff. But now, as an adult, looking at this minute by minute, these are almost like the more interesting minutes, because you're getting a deep dive into the psychology of stuff and things like that. And it can happen loads in the last movie. Like, I never used to like scenes with Carl Grissom, because like, oh, this is some boring old man. But now, like, what we were doing last year, it's like, oh, I love Carl Grissom so much. Like, I just want to talk about him all the time. And even all the Shrek board meeting stuff in this movie as well. It's like, when you're a kid, it's like, oh, come on. But now it's just like, oh, I could talk about Chris Walken and his delivery of all these lines for about 20 episodes. It's just nothing but talk about what Max Shrek is wearing and what he's saying and how he's saying it and stuff. But
is the name Shrek like the ogre? Like, because
it's spelled
every
slightly
time
differently.
Like, okay. Because completely out of context, I'm like, what? What are they talking about?
It's the same name, essentially. Yeah, spelled different, but it's he's named basically after what's his name in the movie?
Well, the thing is, if you want to get like the most Tim Burton-y thing you can possibly hear, is that the character of Max Shrek is named after the silent film actor who played Count Orlok in Nosferatu. That's how goth he's going with this.
Which is great and ties into the thing we were talking about with the vampires.
Yes,
yeah, that's awesome.
Tim Burton clearly loves vampires.
Oh, yeah.
And then he finally made a vampire movie, and it was terrible. So like, how did you balls this up after all this time?
Oh, it wasn't terrible.
Oh no, it was.
He wanted to make a Batman movie.
Yeah, he should have put Batman in it.
Well, you had Michelle Pfeiffer in it, so I guess.
Yeah.
But so we know, Cassandra, like, you have no history with this movie, really. Hopefully you'll go and watch them now after this. But Norman, what do you have any history with these movies or any fond memories of seeing them for the first time or anything?
I have this sense that when I was growing up, this is the one that was like in syndication more often. So I feel like I've seen parts of this movie more than the first one.
Yes, good. This is better.
Like this one, I think this one was like on TBS all the time.
Cable news during the day. Or not cable news.
It was just like a movie on cable during the day.
Yeah.
Like it was never the first Batman movie. It was like always this one. The first Batman movie would play in like prime time sometimes.
That's like Back to the Future. Like Back to the Future 2 was always on TV. But never the first or the third
same
one.
here. I don't know why. Yeah, 2, which is I like 2. I'll defend it. I know some people don't, but why go with that one? It's very odd.
Play 2 without 3 as well. It's just like it's the most like giving you the most blue balls that you can possibly get too, because it just ends on like there's more to come, and you're like, what?
When?
And I was like, not only that, we're going to show you a little bit of the next one over the credits here, like.
Watching movies on TV is an evil practice.
I hate commercials.
Yes. I was once, I don't know why I did it. I never normally do, right? If I see a movie on TV that I want to watch, I'll go and get the DVD or something, or the Blu-ray or whatever, because I've probably got it. But once Jurassic Park was on, and I thought, whatever, I'll just watch it for a bit. I'm going out soon. And they went to a commercial break in the middle of a sentence.
What?
I was like, They didn't even wait for the scene to end.
Wow.
Or like the way that they censor stuff on TV sometimes makes no sense.
That's amazing.
Like my favorite example of like weird censorship of swearing on TV is from Snakes on a Plane. Because like at the end of the movie, when he or like partway through the movie, Samuel L. Jackson says, the line on TV was, "I'm sick of these mother flippin' snakes on this Monday to Friday plane."
Oh god, that's perfect. In fact, on Die Hard Minute, didn't I bring up the Die Hard one, Niall, where it's yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon?
Oh, we were talking about that earlier today. You couldn't remember what it was.
That's it. It's come back.
It's finally come full circle.
Mr. Falcon, what the hell?
What?
At least put something in that makes sense.
Because it wouldn't sound intimidating if it was like Mother Flipper or like
Mother Hubbard.
Mother Hubbard.
That's the better one, yeah.
But that's the thing, though, because the scene of... So I guess they had to have Alan Rickman, though, because he goes like, "Oh, what did you say? Yippee-ki-yay, mother..." So they'd have to be like, "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon." Like a completely different voice comment.
Mr. Falcon.
That just makes me think of Captain Falcon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Show me your moves.
Oh, it should be in that voice. Oh, yes.
But yeah, I'm ready to wrap this week up.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, guys.
Yeah, this is fun.
Of course.
Thank you.
Anytime. You're more than welcome to come back next year for Batman Forever, which could... I don't know. Batman Forever gets a very mixed reaction from people, so you might want to, and you might not want to
talk about Jim Carrey.
Oh no,
Okay.
Jim Carrey's in that? Oh no.
Oh, he's the Riddler.
I'm
Do you
out.
not know that?
No. Jim Carrey scares me.
Jim Carrey is the Riddler, and he like runs around with a cane, which he does inappropriate things with, and has like flaming red hair.
Oh,
And he's in a skin-tight green spandex suit.
Oh, with the question marks?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the little domino mask.
Yeah.
It's quite a shift from these two movies. That's all I'm going to say.
It's... I don't even know what to tell you about the Riddler in Batman Forever.
That's why it's exciting, though, to talk about. But we will let our good listeners go and enjoy the start of their weekend here on this lovely Friday. I say it's lovely. I don't actually know. Trade secret. I'm recording this in advance. It might be an awful Friday. It might be terrible. But go and enjoy your Friday. And would our wonderful guests like to tell our listeners where they can be found online once more?
You can find us on duelinggenre.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at LOTR Minute. We're on hiatus. Thank God. But you have a lot. You have a lot of episodes at your disposal to listen to whenever you want. So enjoy.
Over 400 of them.
Yes. That's not hyperbole.
Whoa.
Literally over 400.
Oh my lord. I mean, what are we on now? Like 160 something? And that feels like we've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine
Yeah.
what you feel.
I know, like 160. We're still in like Moria. Like,
Yeah.
for comparison.
Yeah. We've done 425 episodes in about a little over 2 years, so...
Oh.
Oh my god. I struggle to even, now I'm getting old, I'm an old man. I struggle to even sit and watch the one movie in one sitting. So, you know, when I rewatched them all recently, I had to sort of break it up. I was like, we'll watch, because I have the DVD, I haven't got the Blu-ray, sadly. So I was like, we'll watch disc 1 of the first movie tonight, and disc 2 tomorrow. Then we'll move on to the Two Towers disc 1. You have to break it
I
up.
think the last time I watched it was like a TV show where I did like 45 minutes at a time, and it was like it lasted
Good
about
idea.
I guess like over 2 weeks or thereabouts. But a lot of the time though, you end up getting really drawn into the movie, so you'd be sitting watching it with your dinner, and it's like, oh, I've got stuff to do afterwards, and then you find yourself sitting watching for like another 25 minutes, like, oh crap, I better go now.
I think it works like that though, because I mean, it's a book. And that's how you read a book, isn't it? You might stop when you finish with the chapter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. There's no breaks built in.
Yeah. But
So that's fine. So check that out. Check out the show. It's wonderful. And if you haven't checked out the movie, go watch the movies. Go watch Lord of the Rings. It's great.
know.
If you haven't watched it, you're a freak, and I hate you. I hate you with all of my heart. You're an awful human being. So go and do that.
There's like a one.
hate you.
There's like a
We hate
1-star review. We hate you too.
And please keep listening to the show and give us a 5-star review. Don't listen to that. No 1 stars. Only 5. If you're going to do anything under 5, just shut up.
Leave now and never come back.
Yes, leave now. But if you are willing to give us 5, then join us again on Monday. Sadly, our wonderful duo will not be joining us, but we'll have a new guest and new minutes. So see you on Monday.
Next time, Invitation to Love. The courtship of 2 clandestine otherkins is about to begin between incognizant companions with covert battle scars on their skin. Meanwhile, Witch, reciting and excited, not quite queen, is about to be kidnapped by a canine-carrying, contemptuous circus team. Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute!